Well, good evening and welcome to the program. My name is James Smart. Now, it is a date with fate tomorrow. Let's hear what, let's begin the bulletin with Ugunja MP Opio Ndai will stay out of the National Assembly for about 10 months. Speaker Justin Muturi has said Wandai and his colleagues disrupted President Uhuru Kenyatta's State of the Nation address in Parliament on Thursday while he was thrown out for defying the Speaker's order that he leaves the chamber. Muturi said that there will be no by-election in Ugunja as Wandai is on a misconduct punishment because he did not breach House rules such as missing 8 sittings. However, there have been calls to amend the standing orders to allow for MPs to lose their seats for misconduct. This forms the basis of our big question tonight, where we're asking you, should MPs lose their seats for misconduct? Should MPs lose their seats for misconduct? You can always tweet us at KTN Kenya, at KTN News, and at James Smart. I'll be happy to take your views on this. Well, there's a date with Fish tomorrow for Deputy President William Ruto and radio journalist Joshua Arap Sang as the International Criminal Court's trial chamber rules on whether their case should proceed. Ruto and Sang filed a no case to answer motion whose outcome promises to have key implications on Kenyan's political scene. Now let's bring in our senior political reporter, Chris Tairu, joining us live from Eldoret studio. Chris, good evening and welcome to the program. You've been speaking to members of everyone else, I should say, in Eldoret. What are they saying?
Well, Smart, what I can confirm is that members here are really eagerly waiting for tomorrow's decision by the ICC. Remember that this case has been going on for years, and come tomorrow, that's when we're going to know whether the Deputy President William Ruto and also radio journalist Joshua Sang have a case to answer. And what residents here are stating is that for now they've moved on and there is peace and tranquility, and that that should be left behind, and Kenyans should continue with their lives, but also a challenge to the Jubilee government to ensure that Kenyans from different communities are united. And so here I can also confirm that there will be there are plans that locals here have already organized that come tomorrow. If at all it will favor the Deputy President and also Sang, then there will be celebrations here in Eldoret town. Remember that Eldoret town, which is in Uasin Gishu County, is the political backyard of Deputy President William Ruto, and so our focus actually will be in Eldoret town. Smart.
All right, now let's hear some of what the residents of Eldoret had to say about the ICC ruling expected tomorrow. Well, earlier, our reporter Francis Mtalaki spoke to Joshua Arap Sang about the expected ruling. Here's an excerpt of that interview.
Well, thank you so much for accepting an interview. And first things first, what are your expectations tomorrow?
My plea to God that tomorrow they will say there is no case to answer, meaning that we will be acquitted. Short of that, I cannot think of. I firmly believe that I'm going to be acquitted tomorrow together with my brother, the Deputy President, because as you know, we have had 29 witnesses from the prosecution who came before the court, and as per what they said, the prosecutions were not able to demonstrate that we participated in any way.
What if now the decision goes against your wish?
I don't know. Unimaginary happens that there's a case to answer. It's just no. We proceed with it because we have been there for the last 6 years, and we have been dealing with a very tough part of it, where the prosecutions were bringing people to say all those lies against us, say all statements against us. But now, even if we say we go into the defense case, it's easy on our part because we are taking our own people. Even if it takes 10, 20 years, the end, I will be acquitted. And I believe the same to my brother, Deputy President, because, this case is about we We met, we planned, we did all that, and all those are things that we didn't do.
It has been 6 years since now this case began. And what is your view in terms of the lawyers and the work they have been doing?
Whatever the lawyers have been able to do so far, I congratulate them, and I appreciate their work. They've been able to demonstrate that whatever charges that were put against me are lies. And we've been able to answer each and every accusation from the prosecution, either from their witnesses or from them as a team. We have answered each and every part of that, the lies, I could say.
And in terms of challenges that maybe you have been facing in terms of this legal process for the last 6 years?
One is being away from the family, a young family like mine. These children are so young, they can't understand why I leave them, sometimes for a month. And, the only thing they can see is watch me on TV, and, they can't understand why all these things are being said against me. Another thing is I had to resign from the work that I love so much, broadcasting. So I resigned in 2012, so I've been just there, not doing what I love most, broadcasting.
How does your family cope?
I can only tell to some extent, but you can't read them inside because I believe they are suffering. Like my children, sometimes they used to tell me in school, some children I had to transfer them from a school because, they used to be told your father is going to be hanged and that kind of a thing. And, so I had to transfer them from one school to another because of those issues. It has been difficult.
Well, that has been happening in Eldoret, and indeed our very own reporter Chris Tairu is going to stay on it even as that decision is handed down tomorrow. Thank you very much, Chris. Well, we stay with that case before the ICC tomorrow, and tonight on Spotlight 2017, our reporter Murimi Mwangi delves into the politics of the ICC and the possible implications of the court's ruling on the politics of Jubilee in 2017.
It was the new phenomenon that shook the high and mighty on the land. But in the wake of the fear for the unknown in the distant city of The Hague, emerged a peculiar political wagon, one powered by the spirited campaign against the International Criminal Court. But in the end, the Uhuru Ruto camp lifted the 2013 trophy.
It was said, choices have consequences. And that if you vote for Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, there would be consequences. Look at what happened. The people of Kenya did not just vote and make us win. They did it in round one.
But with barely 17 months to the 2017 polls, and with the Hague headache still agonizing the URP wing of the Jubilee camp, the ICC issue is yet again one of the factors set to put to test yet again the strength of the glue still holding together the TNA URP brigades.
International Criminal Court is now in session.
Even as the ICC prepares to deliver a verdict which may effectively end the Jubilee government's ICC headache at 6 p.m. Kenyan time on Tuesday. But the verdict might as well also set the pace for more Ruto and Sang trips to The Hague, should the court rule on the case proceeding to full trial, which may drag past the 2017 general election.
It means that if the ICC still hangs on him, then the president's handlers or the Jubilee political machinery will want to see and ask themselves, how can they reduce a baggage that will not cost them if they go to the 2017 elections? So they'll want to ask themselves that question. The answer would be, is it possible to have another stronger partner that can deliver the Rift Valley? The answer is no. Right now, there is no other stronger partner that can emerge who can beat Deputy President William Ruto.
Tunaamini Mungu aliye hai kwamba mambo haya yatakuwa nyuma yetu hivi karibuni na Kenya itapiga hatua.
If he is not let free, then We will remind the TNA brothers that they didn't do anything. We will remind them that they didn't do much that we expected them to do to ensure that our brother is free.
Notwithstanding the politics surrounding ICC, we must always appreciate this a court case, it's a legal case. So, and 80 or 90%, that which will help Ruto is something that is in the court, nothing outside.
The National Criminal Court is now in session.
At the ICC, the judges will be making a determination whether to set free the deputy president, pursuant to his application for judgment of acquittal, while Sang wants the judges to declare that he has no case to answer. Analysts argue that whichever way the judgment goes, the unity of the Jubilee coalition is under test. On one hand, Ruto is keen to make a stab at the presidency in 2022, an ambition he wishes to accomplish after Uhuru's 2017 bid. But a section of URP rebel legislators have alternative plans for the deputy president, particularly if the ICC Tuesday ruling sets him off the hook.
We can even make William Ruto to run for president if he is willing. If he's not, we can look for another candidate, or we look for another coalition and support and move away forward.
Ruto will have appreciated the role that Uhuru has played, even if it's a small role, towards his acquittal. And therefore, it then even gives him more incentive to stay in the Jubilee coalition.
He'll want to go into the 2017 elections with his side trained on the 2022 election.
Lakini 2017 tutaunda serikali kwa mapenzi ya Mungu kwa chama kimoja ya Jubilee ikiongozwa na Uhuru Kenyatta.
Should the judges reject Ruto's application for acquittal, then the deputy president may have to spend a substantive amount of his campaign time at The Hague in 2017. This happening at a time when the URP wing of the coalition is facing a growing internal rebellion, particularly in the South Rift. But analysts are divided on whether the ICC will be a campaign issue in 2017.
The ICC issues has been binding us. So minus ICC, I think we are free to go.
Government has been in power for 5 years, or no, for 4 years plus, and they will be having their own issues to deal with. There are many issues that the opposition are raising right now that could still be issues around that time, failing to deliver on promises, issues of corruption. There might be other issues.
To me, it is going to impact either way. If it goes, we are hoping that it will go, he has no case to answer. Then immediately we have to chart our way forward.
Based on the decision on law and facts, we are confident that on Tuesday is the day that will be the end for us talking about you and Mheshimiwa Arap Sang going to The Hague.
Now, should the judges rule in Ruto's and Sang's favor, the ICC verdict on Tuesday might be the end of the headache for the Jubilee coalition. But should the ICC reject either of the two motions, no doubt the ICC issue is likely to drag into 2017 and possibly spark a debate on the unity of the Jubilee coalition. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.
All right, the ICC and the political ramifications has had in 2017. That appears to be the story tonight as we head in tomorrow, the next 24 hours. And tomorrow on your standard, Ruto's mom, my pain and prayer for son on ICC. That's Deputy President co-accused Sang to no fate of their crimes against humanity case as trial judges give ruling tomorrow. You wake up to that story as Ruto mom says, I have put on a traditional belt and gone down on my knees in prayer and fasting because we all know he didn't commit such crimes. Read about that story, exclusive interview done by the Standard team on Ruto's mom prayer tomorrow as the ICC makes that decision. Well, let's move matters more current. And University of Nairobi students torched Sonu offices in fresh protests against Babu Owino's re-election. Babu has previously been linked to hooliganism and often been seen to display a lavish lifestyle in sharp contrast to his student status.
He is the man of the moment, the so-called professor of university politics. When it comes to university politics, to say the least, he's arguably won the Sonu presidency for the last 4 years, beating all his competitors hands down. Paul Ongili, aka Babu Owino, is no stranger to the media. He once held a birthday party worth 14 million shillings that left tongues wagging and questions remaining unanswered as to how a university student could afford such a lavish lifestyle that can only be compared to the likes of Hollywood superstars. But it is not his lifestyle alone that has raised eyebrows, but also the many years that he has spent at the university, and with each of those, he has vied for presidency and won it.
Let all comrades unite as comrades. Let us not be divided along tribal lines. Let us not be divided along ethnic lines. Let us not be divided along religious lines, but let us be our brothers and our sisters' keepers.
Born in Kisumu County, Babu is a first-class honors graduate of actuarial science from the University of Nairobi class of 2012. He was chairman of the University Union Sonu in 2011 and 2012. He is now pursuing a law degree. This year, Babu has insisted that he won the election fair and square, despite claims from his opponents that he bribed voters and tampered with the results. Violence was witnessed at the university for the better part of today that led to the Sonu offices to be set ablaze.
Whose chairman is he? The comrades are here with us. Yes. If he's the comrades chairman, then he should be here. Yes. I have seen the anger of comrades. Yes. They have taken it upon themselves to deviate from their union, and even their officers have been banned by the GSU officers.
Democracy must be respected. Let those leaders come, we work together if they want to serve the students. But all in all, that demonstration must stop. Students must go back to class. Examinations are starting next week on Monday.
The one thing that stands out from Babu Owino with no doubt is that he is no ordinary student leader, but one that has mastered the art of university politics and one who would stop at nothing to achieve what he wants. Aaron Ocheng, KTN News.
Well, a statement from the University of Nairobi tonight says that they've put together a team to look into the matters of that election, and hopefully they can come up. Now, these are the scenes earlier on today and the better part of the weekend as the university students engage police in running battles. Moving on now, Kakamega County Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has blaming Fort Kenya for the chaos witnessed in Kakamega County over the weekend as Court Co-Principal Moses Wetangula launched his presidential bid. The governor has also distanced himself from the chaos that led to the arrest of his chief of staff, Nabina Bwera, who was arraigned in court, and the police lost a bid to detain him for 7 more days while they complete their investigations.
Most of the people who came from outside were Fort Kenya, and you saw that they had so many buses, over 50 buses that transported their supporters. Of course, we had also few ODM people who came from far sub-counties like Lukuyani is quite a distance, Matungu is quite a distance. They also came, but the number was not as big as the Fort Kenya. They're the ones who are carrying crude weapons. How can you accuse ODM when it is ODM that you are banning their T-shirts? It is claimed that it's the ODM people who are being beaten, and you saw that on the cameras. How could they then be behind it? And in any case, who will have organized the ODM people? Because we had no contact with them. But however, I'm told that my chief of staff was arrested and is suspected. Now it's a matter of court. Yeah, if he's involved, then let the law take its course. And I'm unaware that he was involved in anything. And I know if he was involved, he would have told me one way or another. He never told me that he was actually organizing anything. And I don't see why he would do that.
All right, that's Monday Night News. Taking a short break, just about 20 minutes past 9. We have plenty more on the other side of the break, including that discussion with MP Zakoyo Bidio on just exactly if members of parliament who whistle through the state of the nation should lose their seats. Thoughts and opinions on Twitter at KTN Kenya, at KTN News, and at James Smart. We'll be right back. Right now, small-scale dairy goat farmers in Kirinyaga County are an excited lot as they can now export their dairy goats to the Djibouti market following an initiative by the East African Farmers Federation that seeks to connect small-scale dairy farmers in Kenya to international markets. The initiative seeks to boost farmers' earnings despite the reduction in arable land in most parts of the country. On this week's episode of The Next Frontier, Philip Keitani visited the farm as they prepared to export the goats.
Dairy farming in Kenya has over the years been a preserve of farmers with dairy cows, but fortunes of the dairy sector are now changing as dairy goat farming cuts a niche for itself as one of the most lucrative dairy ventures for small-scale farmers. These small-scale dairy goat farmers in Kirinyaga County have hit a jackpot after a regional farmers federation rolled out a program enabling them to export dairy goats to Djibouti.
We've realized many challenges along the value chain. One is the quality of the product that you get from the livestock, whether it's meat or milk. There are challenges in terms of just production because of diseases and things like that. There are challenges in terms of just feeding and pasture. Then we have a challenge in terms of breeds.
The farmers came together in a one-year initiative supported by the Dairy Goats Association and the Food and Agricultural Organization FAO to breed dairy goats.
We were lucky in that in Kenya, our farmers, especially the Mount Kenya region, have actually been raising dairy goats. And they are actually raising dairy goats professionally.
Peter Maina, one of the farmers whose tribe of goats is part of the large trip being exported to Djibouti, says the move to rear the upgraded goats is not regrettable, but should be shown to other farmers to indulge in.
Wakati tumepata soko, tunaitisha farmers wote walete buzi pamoja, ili walimu wetu ama wale wanafurahia hizo buzi customers wakuje wachague kulingana na vile umechunga yako.
Kenya has over the years been known to export fruits and vegetables, but for the first time, it will advance to shipping of dairy goats.
The idea is that we try and see how we can improve the already existing breeds in Djibouti with respect to increase in, because they are dairy goats, so to increase milk production.
Smallholder farmers will not only rear their livestock for domestic purposes, but also aim international trade.
We are trying to participate in a process of trying to move goats from, a region where they're actually doing very well to try and improve them in a region that they're not doing very well or where there's actually demand.
About 70% of the pedigree goats have the capacity of twinning. Each goat can produce a minimum of 1.5 liters depending on husbandry. A pedigree male goat matures at 4 years and can weigh up to 100 kilos, while a female weighs 70 kilos. As these farmers from Kirinyaga County prepare to export these alpine dairy goats to Djibouti, now this puts Kenya on the map as one of the leading dairy goat destinations in Africa and makes this venture one of the most lucrative at the moment. Philip Keitani for The Next Frontier.
Miners in Kenya have time and again asked for a review of the 1940 Mining Act to allow fair play in the industry that has recorded increased mineral smuggling. The good news is that the approval of the mining policy by Cabinet gives way forward on what seems like a new law around the corner. Now KTN's Ashley Mazuri has that report.
For the past 70 years, the mining industry has been run using an outdated Mining Act of 1940. The approval of the new mining policy by the Cabinet on April 1st is meant to streamline the mining institutional framework, address governance and operational issues while mainstreaming artisan and small-scale mining.
We need to leapfrog the sector to double-digit, to 10% by 2030. So that's the job that we have here.
The mining bill passed by the National Assembly and Senate repeals Mining Act Cap 306, the Diamond Industry Protection Act Cap 310, and the Trading in and Worth Precious Metals Act Cap 309. Kenya, that produces the third largest soda ash, is said to have large deposits of gold, iron, coal and copper that have not been quantified, begging the agency to carry out a geospatial technology and airborne geophysical survey to enhance information on the country's mineral potential and increase investment in the mining sector. Ashley Mazuri, KTN Business.
Good evening and a warm welcome to tonight's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Lynn Washira. The national women's football team, the Harambee Starlets, are seeking to upset the odds when they take on Algeria in the knockout stages of the Africa Cup of Nations. Starlets are seeking, or will be seeking, to make history by qualifying for the tournament for the first time. Robinson Okenya paid Starlets a visit and files the following report.
Harambee Starlets are on the verge of making history by qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in Kenya's history. However, standing in their way is Algeria, a team that has taken part in the tournament on 4 occasions. Despite the North African country's prowess, Starlets are seeking to take their chances to ensure the upper hand before the return leg in Nairobi.
So mimi kama coach tayari niko na matumaini makubwa sana na wachezaji wangu na kumalizia kuwa hiyo passion nimeona wanaweka kwa mazoezi, wakienda kutia bidii na zile vitu vile tumeelezana, tumefundishana, mimi na matumaini tutaenda qualify to Africa Cup of Nations.
Lakini tunaona tunaenda na positive mind, as in especially tunataka tutoke na away goal. Yeah. Then when we come back home, itakuwa easier for us.
Starlets made it through to the next round of the qualifiers after DR Congo pulled out. A win against Algeria in both legs will see Kenya take part in the Nations Cup in November in what is likely to change women's football in the country.
As in, tunaweza ambia fans wakue patient with us na wakitupatia the good support we need, tutawainua.
This is the opportunity that we have to make a difference na kuinua ball ya wasichana hii country. And tuna look forward to bring you change na ku make difference na ku-up game ya women football in Kenya.
With only a handful of players plying their trade outside the country, some of the players feel exposure will go a long way in helping build the team.
Tuna lack exposure. Ndio big challenge hapa hivi kwetu. Lakini ukipata hiyo nafasi ya kwenda nje, inakuopen kila kitu, inakuopen mind yako, inakumekuna grow, kila kitu inakuwa sawa.
Starlets will depart the country on Wednesday for their tie on 8th in Algeria before hosting the return leg 4 days later. Robinson Okenya, KTN Sports.
And moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta met with the winners of the Paris Marathon. The marathon was concluded yesterday and won by 24-year-old Cyprian Kotut and Visling Jepkesho in a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes and 57 seconds. Kotut won the Paris Marathon in a time of 2 hours, 7 minutes and 13 seconds on Sunday and became the 12th man to win the race and will be one of the athletes that are expected to grace the Kenyan team to the Rio Olympics. The president was in a jovial mood and exchanged pleasantries with the winning team as he urged them to continue flying the Kenyan flag high.
Well done. Yeah. Next story.
And back home, Jericho All-Stars got their revenge in the ongoing SportPesa Super 8 Premier League by defeating their rivals Masa FC 2-0. No team showed intent to score in the first half. With both teams playing cautiously, Jericho All-Stars, however, seemed to regroup in the second half. Their efforts bore fruit in the 60th minute when Jeremiah Horo netted in Jericho's first goal. Kevin Buru went through tough Masa's defense and sealed 3 points in the 84th minute.
That little matter of the question we asked you tonight, if you asked if should MPs lose their seats for misconduct in Parliament. We ran a Twitter poll, and it's not even close. 63% of you think they should lose their seat, and only 37% of you think absolutely not. And it's quite a fiery discussion happening on Twitter, retweeting those both on my handle and on KTN Kenya handle. But as we say, the big story tonight, there, Ruto's mom, my pain and prayer for son on ICC. That is what you're waking up tomorrow on the Standard newspaper, this day tomorrow, as the ICC makes its verdict on no case to answer case. That's happening around 5 p.m. Kenyan time, I believe. That's what you're waking up on. My name is James Smart. That has been Monday Night News. Thank you very much for making time. We'll do this all over again, the same station, same time, same place. Have a lovely night.